People are talking big time about the Cleveland Browns quarterback drama after Sanders lit things up at practice. Things got really wild at training camp after some super exciting stuff happened with the quarterbacks. Rumors coming from Berea say that this guy, Shedeur Sanders, picked in the 5th round, has totally taken over every single practice for 6 straight days. Now, everyone on the team is feeling the pressure and it's making things kind of awkward. Lots of NFL experts are saying the coaches aren't even on the same page anymore about who should be the main quarterback. Even though there's a clear difference in how well each guy is playing, this isn't just a normal quarterback fight. This whole thing might actually tear the team apart before preseason even kicks off. And the numbers, they're kind of crazy. Sanders is apparently completing about 78 out of every 100 passes he throws against the best defense players on the team. Meanwhile, Gabriel is having trouble even hitting 65 out of 100 passes, and that's just against backup defenders. The difference in how many big plays they make is really surprising. Sanders keeps throwing long passes that land perfectly, while Gabriel keeps going for short and safe passes instead. When it comes to scoring in the red zone, things are even more clear. Sanders is scoring touchdowns 8 out of 10 times down there, while Gabriel mostly just ends up kicking field goals. The coaches watching all this say Sanders is just getting better and better every single day. Let's not pretend like this isn't obvious. The numbers are clearly showing who's doing better. So why haven't they let Sanders go up against the main defense during real plays? Insiders are saying that veteran quarterback Kenny Pickett has a hamstring injury. It's a level 2 strain, and he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. That means Kenny is out of the race now. Now fans want to know what's going on. Can Sanders finally be the starting quarterback? Even though it's super clear Sanders is doing way better, the coaches keep saying Gabriel is still their guy, at least when people are watching. But inside the team, officials are kind of nervous. They're worried Sanders isn't ready yet, doesn't know the playbook well enough, and they want to follow the usual plan for training new quarterbacks. But guess what? The players in the locker room all seem to agree. They think Sanders is just way more talented. Some older players are even asking the coaches to let Sanders take over in practice with the main team. Even the defensive players are quietly saying that Sanders' throws are so good, it's hard for them to stop him. Things are definitely changing, even if the coaches aren't saying anything. There was one moment that really changed everything. Sources say Sanders ran a perfect 2-minute drill against the top defense, showing he could read the defense, throw super accurately, and make smart choices really fast. His teammates went wild on the sideline, cheering and going crazy. But the coaches? They just stood there like nothing big happened, not even smiling. Then Gabriel tried to do the same thing, and it totally flopped. He missed a bunch of passes and even threw a super bad interception. People watching said the difference between the two was just too big to ignore. Sanders appeared very cool and sure of himself, while Gabriel looked nervous and upset. This doesn't seem like a fair fight anymore. It seems like Sanders is in charge now. Let's look at everything that's going on. First, what's going on with the team in the locker room? Older players seem to be favoring Sanders, even though the coaches are still trying to back Gabriel. The offensive stars are claiming that Sanders is very confident and that his passes are always on target. A wide receiver who didn't want to give his name stated, "This guy is making throws that we didn't even think were possible." Everybody sees it. Even the people who are defending are astonished. A linebacker informed the news in secret, "He's reading our plays like he's been in the NFL for 10 years. Second, there's turmoil with the coaches. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, is in a bad place right now. He has to pick between the amazing manner Sanders is playing and the plan they already had to make Gabriel the starter. People close to the squad claim they were meant to start Gabriel right away and let Sanders progressively learn from the bench. But now, that strategy is kind of going apart. Behind the scenes, the QB coach is quietly pushing for Sanders to start. But the offensive coordinator keeps talking in public like Gabriel is still the guy. Coach Stefanski is stuck. He has to either claim Sanders is better or keep to the plan they devise. But anyway, people might cease believing his decisions. Third, things are getting tight. People on the squad say Gabriel is starting to show he's upset, like in his body language and how he performs during practice. He came from Oklahoma thinking he was going to be the next big star, but now he's seeing Sanders steal the spotlight, even if the system still favors Gabriel. During quarterback meetings, the mood is frigid and unpleasant now. No one's really talking or working together like they used to. There's more quiet than teamwork. The older players are starting to worry. They don't know how long this peculiar feeling will endure before it hurts the whole season. Then, everything blew apart. After one practice, the media in Cleveland started asking Sanders about all the quarterback controversy, the plays, and how things are heating up. Sanders demonstrated he thoroughly understands the various routes the guys run. He's throwing the ball before his teammates even turn around, and it's making everyone talk. He knows how to take advantage when the defense mistakes up, and it's helping him play like someone with a lot more experience. Even the coaches who assumed Sanders would take a long time to learn are now amazed at how good he already is. Gabriel, to be fair, does have skills that match what you'd expect from a legitimate NFL quarterback. People who've watched him concur, if it wasn't for Sanders, Gabriel's performance would appear completely fine. The main problem is how Gabriel looks compared to Sanders. Gabriel knows the plays and runs them effectively, but Sanders takes those same plays and makes them even better with quicker throws, a stronger arm, and cool athletic moves. Gabriel is good at his work. Sanders is starting to look like he could be a superstar, and that's making people in the Browns organization nervous. The team leaders are trying really hard to act like nothing's wrong, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But if we look a little deeper, we can see where the real cracks are showing. Gabriel is the classic kind of quarterback. He played in college for a bunch of years, moved schools at the right time, and used all his chances to play. People in Cleveland thought he would be an easy fit, someone who could step in and grow just like they planned. Gabriel himself thought everything was already set up. He was a draft pick, expected to become the starter, and had full team support. Sanders, on the other hand, is more like the new style quarterback, wild, exciting, and ready to go. He's the son of a football legend, grew up around players and coaches, always studying the game. But even with that background, Sanders has had to fight off people saying he only got chances because of who his dad is, while proving everyone wrong again and again. At first, the Browns saw him as more of a backup plan, maybe someone they could trade later. But now they're seeing he might actually be the kind of quarterback a whole team can be built around, which makes their old plans look like a big mistake. How the two quarterbacks act just makes the gap even more obvious. Gabriel still acts calm when people are watching, but he's not doing great when no one's looking. He barely talks to his receivers after bad throws, looks bored when Sanders makes big plays, and seems really distant during team events. People close to the team say he's falling apart inside, upset that things aren't going the way he expected, and feeling like he's losing his spot. Sanders is the opposite. He's all in. Even with all the politics and drama going on, he's staying sharp, playing great, cheering on his teammates, and showing the kind of calm that's rare for new players. But don't think this will be fixed easily. There's a lot of pressure on this team now. Every single throw gets judged. Every time a coach says something, people look for secret messages. Even when team bosses speak, fans and media try to guess what it really means. This kind of crazy tension only happens when things are falling apart, and that's exactly what's starting to happen in Cleveland. People who support Gabriel still say they just need to wait. He knows the system better, he just needs more time, and pushing a rookie too fast can mess things up. But the folks backing Sanders say his performance speaks for itself, plus he's got those special leadership skills, so it shouldn't matter when he got picked in the draft. Then, the whole thing blew up across the country. Sanders said in a press interview that certain people should worry about getting better themselves instead of worrying about his practice time. And boom, everyone freaked out. ESPN sent more reporters to cover the story. NFL Network wanted to get in too. Twitter and Instagram lit up with people posting nonstop. Even sports talk shows changed their entire schedule to talk about it. And all the experts on TV started giving their hot takes. Old NFL players started offering their opinions too. People who hadn't even watched one Browns practice started debating using college metrics. All of a sudden, what started out as just a routine training camp competition became a massive football story across the country. Insiders claim the Browns' leaders was particularly furious that Sanders indicated coaches playing favorites in front of reporters. Coach Stefanski even had a private conversation with Sanders about how to talk to the media, keep the message clear, and respect team communication standards. People who know what transpired in the meeting say Sanders was polite, but he didn't back down. He stood by what he said, but agreed he could have phrased it in a finer way. That's not something most rookies do. That's a young athlete addressing his head coach and saying, "I'm ready and I deserve to speak up." It's like the idea of earning your space colliding with all the untidy crap around it. The Browns quarterback conflict is rising right in the heart of a significant team problem. But if you believe in earning things by performing outstanding work, then Sanders' amazing play deserves to be appreciated. Lots of NFL pundits are now saying the Browns are in an unusual and incredibly tricky scenario with their quarterbacks. The whole staff is now having serious meetings about what to do next, and it's freaking everyone out, from top to bottom. One significant team leader said confidentially, "No matter what we choose, there's a risk." If they go with Sanders, they're picking the superior player now, but it might mess up his learning in the long term. If they stay with Gabriel, they stick to the strategy. But the players might quit believing the coaches. To properly comprehend how enormous this issue is, you have to look past just the players and see what it's doing to the overall team system. First, the team's scouting decisions are being questioned. The folks who choose players for the draft worked really hard on picking quarterbacks, and they picked Gabriel much before Sanders. But now, Sanders is doing considerably better, and that makes everyone wonder if their scouting tactics were wrong. If the player taken in the 5th round is outplaying the 3rd rounder by this much, maybe Cleveland botched up its draft process. Second, the team's playbook can be overly strict. The plays were crafted to fit Gabriel's style best, but Sanders is doing well despite if the system wasn't meant for him. This makes many ponder. Can the coaches change things to fit Sanders, or are they stuck doing things the old way? Will they alter the system to meet their most entertaining player, or stay utilizing a scheme that doesn't fit him? Third, the player's conduct is changing too. You can feel it. The team's energy transforms when Sanders is out there. They're not saying it in interviews, but their actions demonstrate where their support is going. Receivers are adjusting their routes during practice to better match Sanders' timing. The offensive linemen chat more and work more when Sanders is leading. Everyone on the team is noticing these subtle indicators. One assistant coach added in private, "Real players know who's real. The elder men are indicating who they believe in with how they play, not what they say." Fourth, Gabriel's growing increasingly frustrated, and some people are starting to speculate about probable behind-the-scenes stuff. Gabriel's followers feel things haven't been fair from the start. They believe he was picked to grow into the starter, but now he's being pushed to compete with a fast-rising star. Some persons close to Gabriel think Sanders is being shown off more on purpose, receiving chances to shine, while Gabriel gets fewer big-moment plays. People are starting to whisper that some coaches are picking favorites and trying to control the tail. Gabriel's crew is now speaking up, stating they're scared things aren't being done fairly. They suggest Gabriel could not be receiving the same chances as Sanders, and it's not just about how good they're playing. Fifth, how Sanders is maintaining calm while everything goes nuts around him. Even with all this controversy, Sanders doesn't appear freaked out at all. Lots of people say he's always the first player to show up and the last one to depart. He's watching extra film, working on timing with receivers, and understanding the complete playbook inside out. He's not acting like a frightened rookie, he's absolutely locked in like a pro. Everyone says he's so solid and grown up that even the older players truly respect him. One leader on defense even commented, "That kid means business. He doesn't whine. He just shows up and performs." And honestly, it's increasingly harder for anyone to argue with what he's doing. Since the pressure is growing so severe, the Browns coaches are starting to make changes to how they train. They want things to look more fair, so they're allowing both quarterbacks take the same number of reps, keeping track using better ways than just calculating basic data, and even asking the team's veteran leaders for advice on how all of this is making the locker room feel. Everyone now agrees that this has to be straightened out fast before the chaos affects how ready the team is when the season starts. Sixth, the Browns are now at a critical decision point about who they actually want to be as a team. Even though Sanders is winning over more individuals, Gabriel still has value to the team. He was picked higher, knows the playbook better, and was anticipated to be the starter. But Sanders is making it incredibly hard to keep him on the bench. He's playing too well to ignore. He's leading in a way that's too tremendous to leave out, and he's improving so fast that it doesn't even feel too early to give him the job. Now the Browns have to make a significant decision. Do they remain with what they intended, or do they adjust it because of what they're seeing now? No matter what, there's going to be a cost. If they continue with Gabriel only because of prior ideas, the players might stop believing them. If they chose Sanders, they risk undermining the team's long-term faith in how they make judgments. The Browns aren't simply picking a quarterback, they're making a choice that might influence what kind of team they are in the future. One coach added, "I think all the quarterbacks did a pretty good job during spring practices. All 4 guys had some good moments, and we're going to keep giving them chances to compete. But honestly, we'd like to pick a starter sooner rather than later. So, is Shedeur Sanders the starting now?" Well, Wednesday was the first day reporters were allowed to watch. It wasn't exactly his first day at practice, but it was the first time anyone outside could see him for real. He completed 3 out of 8 passes, not spectacular, but not horrible either. He didn't throw any interceptions. Gabriel tossed the only touchdown during the practice. So sure, the quarterback race is starting to heat up again. Let's backtrack a bit and look at everything that transpired that day. They did 11 on 11 plays, 7 on 7 drills, and a few unusual game-like circumstances. It seems like this session was largely team practice stuff. And recall, the Browns still aren't wearing full pads yet, just soft gear for now, but this was the first time we got a solid look at Shedeur Sanders in motion. I've prepared a little video of his plays. Let's dig out how he moved, how he acted, and what his throws look like. The minor nuances count. First thoughts? The way he flips the ball at the end of his throw looks crisp. His spirals are incredibly tight. He appeared fluid when backing up before throwing. Sure, 1 or 2 passes floated a bit, but that might have been on design, making them softer for better receptions. Here's one play where he fakes a handoff and rolls out to the left. He tosses it right on target as the recipient is still running. That's the receiver he normally passes to. No shock there. One defender batted away another pass, super close one. Tight space, might have been caught. Kind of tricky to say when viewing live. He did hit a few good throws. Then bam, easy sack. He's got to remedy that. Watch closely. D is coming fast. Wait, that's actually strong, not who we thought. Sanders tosses while moving. Fast throw. That's a positive sign. Okay, let's speak about the good and bad. He's a rookie, so of course there's a bit of both. There was one throw that was arguably his finest of the day. Picture this, a pass toward the sideline, defender incredibly close, but Sanders put the ball just where only his guy could get it. It reminded me of a fantastic pass I once broke down from Tyler Show. Same idea. That throw looked like it belonged in the NFL. In pro games, defenders frequently cover well. What makes great quarterbacks distinctive is they trust their arm and throw it into narrow areas. This wasn't just a fortuitous grab, it was a terrific toss, very crisp. The recipient didn't even move, the ball stuck like glue. Yes, Shedeur finished 3 for 8, but that number doesn't convey the whole tale. Let's look at how everyone did. Joe Flacco went 5 for 5, but he didn't throw much. Shedeur Sanders went 3 for 8, he had the most throws. Kenny Pickett went 6 for 7. Dillon Gabriel went 6 for 7 with the only touchdown. That touchdown? A deep rocket. He noticed the open person and launched it brilliantly. Simple, smart play. We'll look at that throw more later. Now, here's the essential part. When you're taken in the 5th round, even a bad practice requires 1 or 2 wow moments. Something that makes everyone look up. Sanders had one. That sideline dart? Definitely a stunning moment. There's still some disagreement regarding who took which reps though. Reports claim Pickett went first, then Gabriel, then Sanders, and Flacco didn't get any time with the first team. But Flacco still went 5 for 5, so those throws probably came in a different drill. Anyway, we'll go back and watch everything closely, frame by frame. Now let's look out Shedeur completing some solo drills. Watch how easily the ball comes out of his hand. It's a minor detail, yet it stands out. He's not trying too hard. It just flows. I do want to point out one aspect he can work on. It doesn't appear wrong, since his footwork is actually pretty superb. He keeps a good base as he throws, and you can definitely notice that after he steps back. But, just being honest here, sometimes it feels like he's just flinging it a touch too loose. Still, even while I nitpick, there's something cool to point out. That whip-like throw we've talked about earlier is still there. If you've been keeping up, you'll remember I said one of his biggest improvements is how he moves his upper body. His footwork has always been superb, but now his upper body is starting to match it. That's what gives his throws that smooth, fast flick. It's a significant improvement. Before we dive into more Browns practice highlights, like Gabriel's deep throw, let's go back to what the head coach mentioned regarding this QB duel. He said the important goal is to give each quarterback a fair chance to prove what they can do. He believed all 4 guys look solid in the spring. They'll keep giving all of them additional chances, but ideally, they want to pick a starting sooner than later. Thanks for watching.